Hi children, welcome back to our class. I think with all the three given examples, the chemical change is very much clear to you. Now we will see some other daily life examples in which chemical changes we are using the, and see chemical changes is also known as chemical reaction. Chemical change also has given another name, that is chemical reactions. And most of the materials we are using in our daily life is made up of due to this chemical changes. The food we are eating, that is cooked by chemical changes. The medicine we are using there in everyday life, that is made up of this chemical changes. The detergents, the soaps we are using to cleaning purposes, and the oils we are using there, everything, majority of the materials we are making by the use of this chemical changes or chemical reactions. Okay, and in some cases they are very useful for us, and some other cases they are not useful for us. We can see some examples of everyday life examples of chemical changes. If we are burning fireworks or firecrackers, explosion of firecrackers is a chemical change. In that, what all things are produced? Yes, gases. Some harmful gases also will be produced. Sometimes sound will be there. Sometimes colors will be produced. Right? So, all explosion of firework is a chemical change in which unwanted gases are also produced. That will pollute the atmosphere. Light and sound energy will be produced. Then sound will be produced, light and sound energy, and this unwanted gases also will be produced and they will pollute the atmosphere. So, we are not advised to, we are advised not to play with fireworks. Okay, we can avoid that in during our celebrations and all. We can avoid that part to make our air clean or unpolluted. And in some other cases, our food materials will get spoiled because of some chemical changes happening to the oil or something happening to the chemical material present in that food items. For example, brinjal, potato, apple, all these fruits or vegetables, if you are kept open there after slicing it, cut it into pieces and just keep it for a while, what will happen? What do you observe there? A brown coloration you can observe there. That is because of the some chemical change happening to the material present on the surface when exposing with the oxygen. Okay, during that time some reaction is happening there. That is why a brown colored material new is produced there, and that is why we can observe the brown coating there. Okay, that is also an unwanted chemical reaction or a chemical change. It is getting that foodstuffs getting spoiled because of this reaction. We will not eat if the color change is happening to the apple and all, right? So, what we will do is, to avoid that, we will keep it in airtight containers, or we can soak it in water. If it is vegetable, after peeling it, we will soak it in water so that the contact with oxygen will be avoided. Okay. Then we have studied in last chapter about the neutralization reaction, right? What do you mean by neutralization reaction? Yes, you said it correctly. That is the reaction between an acid and a base. What are the product produced there? Yes, salt and water, and with the evolution of heat energy. That is also a chemical change. The new materials are produced there and we cannot bring it back. So, we can say that that is also a chemical change. Okay. So, different examples we have seen from our daily life, that for the chemical changes. For chemical changes, we have seen so many examples there. We have seen that explosion of fireworks, It is an unwanted chemical change because some polluting gases, unwanted harmful gases will be liberating to the atmosphere, which will pollute the air. And then we have seen that coloration, brown coloration produced of vegetables, one brown coloration of vegetables. And then after we have seen that neutralization reaction. All these are examples of neutralization reaction. All these are examples of chemical changes, neutralization reaction. Okay. Now we can see, have you heard about ozone layer? Yes, ozone layer is a blanket of protective covering just above our atmosphere, and that layer is made up of ozone, which is a form of oxygen. Ozone is a form of oxygen. 3 oxygen atoms are combining that to produce ozone. It will act as a protective layer from the harmful UV radiations. UV means ultraviolet radiations of the sun. Sun produces different types of radiations and it reaches there on earth. But some are harmful and some are harmless. These UV ultraviolet radiations are very harmful for us. It will be a cause of skin cancer and all. So that UV radiations are trapped by this ozone layer, so that it will not reach there on earth and we will be protected. So UV radiations are trapped by this ozone layer, which is a protective layer in the atmosphere. Okay. Now we can see that so many examples for chemical changes, digestion of our food, cooking of food, and what all we are making there, everything is actually a chemical change. Majority of our daily examples are examples for chemical changes. Now we can see one more example for a chemical change, that is rusting of iron. Have you heard about rusting of iron? No. Okay. We can see what is rusting of iron. When iron particles are exposed to the moist air, you might have seen that this knife or nails, whatever it is, kept for a long time open in the atmosphere, it will react with the atmospheric oxygen and water. Water is always present there in the atmosphere and oxygen is also there. So this iron will react with the water and oxygen to produce a compound which is known as hydrated iron oxide. Actually, that is known as rust. Okay, we can see iron when exposed to oxygen and water present in the atmosphere, hydrated iron oxide will be produced, which we call it as hydrated iron oxide, which is actually rust, which is reddish brown color, reddish brown colored material. If this knife and all kept for a long time without using, you might have seen that reddish coat over that material. That is actually rust. That is because chemical changes happening to this iron materials or iron particles that will be reacting with oxygen and water, that is present there in moist air. So iron will react with this moist air. Hydrated iron oxide will be produced, which we call it as rust. Okay. For rusting, this presence of oxygen and water are equally important. If one is absent, rusting will not be happening. And we can see that if we are keeping that material without mixing with the oxygen or without in contact with oxygen, that rusting will not happen. Okay. So we can say that this rusting is happening only in presence of this oxygen and water. That means in a rainy season this rusting rate will be more because more water moisture content will be there in air. Okay. And also the dissolved salts also will be enhances the rusting activity. For example, in that beach areas and all nearer to the sea and all, there that water vapor will contain some minerals present also, that minerals also will be present in that water vapor. When it is evaporating, minerals also will be present there. That minerals will increases the rate of rusting. So, in that areas the rusting process will be very high, not only in monsoon season, but also the areas nearer to the seashore and all, there the rusting will be more. And this rusting is mainly happening to this iron articles, and actually iron articles are the getting damaged due to this rusting process. Due to this rusting process, the iron articles are getting damaged there. Okay. So, now we can see what are the different methods for avoiding or to prevent rusting. There are different methods are there. To prevent rusting, there are different methods are there. One by one we can see. First one is, we can coat that iron articles with a layer of oil or grease, or we can paint that iron articles. That window bars and all will be painted there. You might have observed it. That is to avoid that rusting. Okay. So, we can prevent the rusting by painting or applying a layer of oil or grease. Okay. Painting or applying a layer of grease, we can prevent that rusting. Another method is there, that coating that metal with another metal which is reacting more. That metal can be coated there on this iron article. For example, we can coat iron articles with the zinc. A coat of zinc can be coating with the zinc. Coat of zinc can be produced there or applied there on a coat of zinc can be applied there on iron articles, so that inside that iron will be protected, only that zinc will be exposed to the damages and all. Okay. So, that process, coating of zinc with iron articles, when coated with the zinc, that process is known as galvanization. Coating of iron articles with the zinc. And one more method we can see is alloying. Alloying means a metal can be mixed with some other metal or some other material, so that we can prevent the rusting process. For example, that cooking utensils, that vessels we are using for cooking and all, it is not getting rusted there, isn't it? Every day it is in contact with the water and air. Do it rust? Will it rust? No, it will not rust. Why? Because it is not a pure metal, iron mixed with the carbon. We are making that steel there. When iron is mixed with the carbon, we can make the steel. That steel will resist that corrosion, rusting. Okay. So, same way stainless steel, that is a mixture of different metals there. Okay. All these different metals we can mix it there, and this different metals mixing there, we will get an alloy there, and that is known as stainless steel, and that stainless steel will prevent that rusting process. Why do we prevent this rusting? Because due to this rusting, lot of money will be lot of money, we will lose our money, lot of damage to the iron articles will be there, and we have to spend lot of money for this replacement of this damaged iron articles. For example, if it is a part of bridges or if it is a part of building, whatever it is, these damages to be rectified in order to maintain that structure there. So, a lot of money we have to spend for that. So, wastage of lot of money is there every year. That is why we have to prevent this rusting. Okay. So, I hope the rusting is clear to you. Rusting is the reaction of iron with the moist air. Hydrated iron oxide will be produced there, which we call it as rust. And there are different methods for preventing that rusting there, and a lot of money is wasted because of that rusting, and that is why we are avoiding that rusting processes. Now we can see a small topic, one more topic, that is crystallization. That is, I think that the process is familiar to you. Crystallization you have seen there in 6th standard. What do you mean by crystallization? Yes, it is a separation technique. More than a separation technique, we are using it to purification of particular material. Salts we are purifying using this crystallization process. For that, what we have to do, we have to take little water there. Here we are taking copper sulphate, that blue colored substance. The last class we have seen that crystals we are taking for the crystallization. So, first we are taking small quantity of water in a beaker and 2-3 drops of sulfuric acid we are adding there, and we are heating that beaker. So, beaker we are taking water. Here in this beaker we are taking water plus 2-3 drops of sulfuric acid we are taking, and then after that we are heating that water, and when the water starts boiling we are adding that copper sulphate, blue copper sulphate we are adding there on boiling. Okay, and slowly with constant stirring we are adding that copper sulphate there, and till how much we will add that copper sulphate till the solution becomes saturated. What do you mean by a saturated solution? Yes, it is a solution in which no more solute can be dissolved. So, that much quantity of copper sulphate we will keep on adding. So, it will dissolve and we will get a saturated solution. Then after that we will remove it from the burner, and then on cooling we will filter the solution to remove all the undissolved copper sulphate. So, you will get a clear solution of saturated solution of copper sulphate after filtration. Okay. So, during filtration what is happening there? We are dissolving, saturating, and saturating, then on cooling filtration is done. Filtration. After that we are keeping that solution. After filtration we are keeping that solution without any disturbance for the crystallization process. Keeping it for crystallization. So, that filtered solution we are cooling it. One day if you are keeping it like without any disturbance, next day you will get crystals of pure crystals of copper sulphate salts. You will get crystals of copper sulphate there, that will be very pure. The impurities will remain in the solution and you will get a pure crystal of copper sulphate there. So, we have seen that crystallization activity there. During that crystallization we have taken little water there and adding 2-3 drops of sulfuric acid, heated the solution water, then on to the boiling solution we have started adding that copper sulphate salts. Okay, and with constant stirring, then we made a saturated solution by adding maximum amount of copper sulphate. and after that we took it for cooling, and after cooling we filtered the solution and it is set aside for crystallization, and next day or after some time we will get the pure crystals of copper sulfate. So, I think this much is clear to you. We have seen different chemical changes and physical changes in this chapter, and lot of examples for physical and chemical changes also we have seen. Today we have seen the rusting and crystallization process. Now we can see the differences between physical and chemical changes. Differences between physical and chemical changes. Physical and chemical changes. So, what conclusion we are drawing from this chapter is that some changes are physical and some changes are chemical there. Okay, and physical changes means changes to physical properties. Physical properties only. Changes to physical properties will be changing, whereas in chemical changes both physical and chemical properties are changing there. Then we can see no new substances are produced there in physical changes, whereas in chemical changes one or more than one new substances are produced there. One or more than one new substances will be produced there in a chemical change. Okay, then we can say that physical changes are reversible. Physical changes are reversible. Whereas chemical changes are irreversible. And physical changes are temporary. Physical changes are temporary, whereas chemical changes are permanent. Okay, so these are the differences between physical and chemical changes which we are getting a conclusion from this chapter. Hope this much is clear to you. Thank you.